Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy, and I'm an ordained minister. We are in Bible study. We are in the NIV. We are in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6. And, we're going to read the whole chapter because that's how we roll here. Love the Lord your God. These are the commands, decrees, and the laws of the Lord your God directed to me to teach you to observe in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess, so that you, your children, and their children after them may fear the Lord your God as long as you live, by keeping all his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may enjoy a long life. Hear, O Israel, and be careful to obey, so that it may go well with you, and that you may increase greatly in the land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your fathers, promised you. Now, if any of this in Deuteronomy sounds familiar, it would be, didn't we cover this? And that is because those books were lost, and they had to write down what they remembered. And Deuteronomy does have some slightly different things, so you get to see the difference between when it was with Moses and when it was after. Hear, O Israel, it's verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God. The Lord is one. The Lord our God is the one Lord. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts. Now, if you're a good little Christian, you're going to be like, wait, I thought Jesus said that. He did. But he was quoting Deuteronomy. The Messiah paid attention to the scriptures. How else did he know what to fulfill? They were his instruction manual in fulfillment of the scriptures. He's still amazing. His memory is awesome. And it is exactly the right attitude. It's why, right? It would be the right thing for the Messiah to know. These commandments, verse 6 here, these commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on the gates. And you could get this little Torah scroll plaquey thingy where it's in a plaque, but it's got a little Torah scroll on it, and you could just literally screw it up on your door frame. So you have it, they took it literally, write them on your door frames. Okay. Of course they're written, they would have been engraved on the city gates and stuff. When the Lord your God brings you into the land he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to give to you a land with large, flourishing cities you did not build, houses filled with all kinds of good things you did not provide, wells you did not dig, and vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. Then when you eat and are satisfied, be careful that you do not forget the Lord, who brought you out of Egypt and out of the land of slavery. Fear the Lord your God. Serve him only, and take your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the peoples around you. For the Lord your God, who is among you, is a jealous God, and his anger will burn against you, and he will destroy you from the face of the land. Do not test the Lord your God as you did at Massah. Be sure to keep the commands of the Lord your God and the stipulations and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so that it may go well with you and you may go in and take over the land that the Lord promised on oath to your forefathers, thrusting out all your enemies before you, as the Lord said. In the future, when your son asks you, what is the meaning of the stipulations, decrees, and laws the Lord our God has commanded you? Now, in Passover Seder, they do have that. There is a, it's supposed to be the youngest child in the room that has to read that part to the person leading the Passover Seder. Or if you are, as I was when I was younger, in my teenage years, there for a Passover Seder, because I was the person visiting, I was the person who read it. But in English, they didn't try to make me read it in Hebrew. Tell him, we were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Before our eyes, the Lord set miraculous signs and wonders, great and terrible, upon Egypt and Pharaoh and his whole household. He brought us out from there to bring us in and give us the land that he promised on oath to our forefathers. The Lord commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear the Lord our God, so that we might always prosper and be kept alive, as is the case today. And if we are careful to obey all this before the Lord our God, as he has commanded us, that will be our righteousness. Good for the sake of good. And, as we learned in the book of Numbers in much more detail, he does not take to rebellion too well. He'll make earthquakes happen. And again, there's 2 giant fault lines on either side of the Jordan. You can go Google that and see that it's true. So yeah, whenever they're talking about things that sounds like that's an earthquake, yeah, they would have experienced earthquakes. That's just what is. And same thing with like the Dead Sea. Salty, because there's mountains of salt next to it, where there's pockets of natural gas underneath where there's mountains of salt. So yeah, just, and because of that, used to, in the Dead Sea, there was just chunks of petroleum fighting, like floating in the Dead Sea. It would just, because of the extreme saltiness and everything else, it would just, solidify like that, and you could just like fish it out and then sell it, which is what they were fighting about in Sodom and Gomorrah. The ability to get at the Dead Sea. Because, otherwise it'd be like, why would anybody want the Dead Sea? There's nothing alive in there. Like literally nothing. No fish, no anything. It can't sustain any life. Pockets of petroleum. That's why. See, we've always been fighting over petroleum. It's not new. All the way back. I'll leave you with that. How many other things are we still repeating? But you can find a bunch in here, because it's a human story, and that's what we are. Until the next video, friends.